Polaris Transportation Group has been racking up awards in areas ranging from technology integration to employee engagement and being a top place for women to work in transportation. I caught up with one of the women leaders at the company, Brenda Brajkovich, to talk about what makes this cross-border less-than-truckload and logistics provider stand out. This is Deborah Lockridge, editor and associate publisher of Heavy Duty Trucking, and today I'm talking to Brenda Brajkovich with Polaris Transportation Group. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you for having me.
So, start off, a little background, tell us about Polaris Transportation Group.
Sure. So, Polaris Transportation Group is a privately held Canadian asset-based LTL carrier, providing daily service between Canada and the U.S. We also have a third-party logistics company that also does cross-border transportation. We also do warehousing, and we also have a digital company called North Star Solutions. So we're a little different. We're not just transport.
You know, I've seen more and more companies that are branching out, that they do more than one thing. Mm-hmm. And you're based in Canada? But you do a lot of business in the U.S.
Correct. For 31 years, we've been crossing the border, moving millions and millions of shipments. So we are the cross-border pros. That's what we're known for. So our industry-leading transit times between both countries, and then of course the additional services that we provide. We wanted to, have more of a supply chain solution for our customers. So that's how our growth really helped in where we are today.
So you're both asset-based and logistics?
Correct. Yep. Third party.
Mm-hmm. So how many? How big is the fleet?
So we have about 150 drivers, but our company total is about, I would say, 320, including all companies. So yeah. So we've grown quite a bit in the 30 years.
So cross-border trucking, things have been a little crazy the last few months with some of the cross-border issues. How has this affected your company?
So yeah, that's been the global topic, hasn't it? So we've been really in a fortunate position. We haven't been affected. We've sustained and maintained our freight volumes between Canada and U.S. So we're very lucky.
Just, I'm sure, keeping an eye on things.
Absolutely.
You mentioned about how you have a technology company that's, I guess, kind of a spin-off. From what I understand, that you've made great strides in technology, launched an app called Fr8 Focus, aimed at helping carriers connect and track and manage fleets in real time. Tell me a little bit about that app.
Sure.
And about the technology side of it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do my best. I'm not the tech person, but I can definitely give you a high-level overview. So,
sure, that's what we need.
Basically, in 2018, we launched North Star Digital, and the reason we did that was we had some pain points, right? Visibility, things of that such. So, basically, North Star, we'll call them NDS. They actually started improving the pain points. Having the visibility, having more automation. From that point, they created the Fr8 Focus app, which basically connects the road to the back office. It's a driver app that drivers have access to on their phone. We have visibility, so we're able to see in real time where our shipments are. We're able to know where our drivers are. It's also good for safety reasons. But we really kind of stepped up, and when it comes to Trimble, we've been on that TMS system for probably about 15 years. And really what NDS did was they integrated different software and solutions that would really benefit the actual platform. So we just enhanced it by all those integrations, such as AI, RPA, automation, all that. So yeah, we've really showcased our potential, and it goes to show with the 2 years in a row we won the Trimble Awards. So yeah, we're very, very proud of that. Very, very proud of that.
It's the Ovation Award from Trimble in the Better Together Best Collaboration category.
Correct. Yes. Yes. So we're getting noticed, and yeah, we're very, very proud of that.
Again, I think that's a lot of what it's all about today is everything needs to integrate and everything needs to work together. There's so many things out that fleets are using.
Well, exactly. And because the TMS system already exists in a lot of freight companies, it just made sense for us to really work with that platform. And it's worked out tremendously favorable.
So, all right, last year, I saw the company launched a sustainability action plan that encompasses a lot of different things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so sustainability, a very, very big topic, huge topic, especially in our industry. So how it happened was it was a conversation with our CEO, and his daughter was actually in university in sustainability. And he really was very interested in actually doing something about it. How do we build a sustainability action plan? So under the guidance of a professor, Audrey Jamal from University of Guelph, she came and we kind of did an in-house analysis of sort of what we're doing, what we need to do, and really did a roadmap. From that point, we hired Fulia. She's our sustainability lead, and she actually created our sustainability action plan and business strategy framework based on 5 pillars. So it's not just about emissions and carbon footprint, it's more than that. So the 5 pillars that were created is our people, our community, the work that we do, our partners, and our planet. So those are the 5 core action items or our sustainability framework that really leads us down the right path.
Company sustainability, healthy company, healthy people, healthy community. And you, so you mentioned community. I know that you were involved in a program about, what was it, something for the community, something with food or hunger, I think.
Yes, it's called the Polaris Community Care Unit. So yeah, we're very proud of that. So it was a conversation that I had with the CEO. He's all about giving back, and we have some really good internal giving back initiatives that we do socially. We have bake sales, we have food drives, things like that. But we wanted to make an impact that was consistent. So I pitched the idea to the CEO that we would, rent a van, purchase it, lease it, and every month we would go and we would make a difference. So since we started last year, at the end of 2023, September, we have moved and donated over 31,000 pounds of food. So it's overwhelming just how many people are ready to help. They see that we're doing this, they'll come up to us in the store when we're shopping and give us money. Can you please just take my money and buy something for the food bank? So if you can make a difference in one person's life, it really is so gratifying. And it's been a great program, and I think the most important part is all of our people have the opportunity to feel that. So they're able to join in on the team, help with the shop, help with the donation, and they don't have to take out of their pocket because Polaris is really funding that. And we're gaining partnership. Our partners in the transportation community want to join in. So it's just going to evolve, I believe, and more than just food. We're looking at that from a sustainability perspective, and we're just going to keep going forward.
That's great. That's great. And this was kind of a project you were proud of working to put together, right?
Yes, very proud. Yeah, very, very proud.
So people, you mentioned about, that they feel great to be able to help out people. It's one of your platforms for the sustainability. So, and I know I've seen a lot of awards and initiatives that Polaris has done as far as diversity and women in trucking. Tell us about some of the ways that Polaris addresses that people part of that sustainability platform.
Yeah, so, part of the sustainability, our pillar is obviously providing a healthy work environment, equal opportunities, building a culture of trust and a continuous career improvement. So that being said, we've been awarded with Trucking HR Canada for probably about 3 years in a row and running, just being acknowledged for employee engagement, being acknowledged for having over 50% of leadership roles at Polaris. We've got a DEIB committee, we have a social committee. We've also created 2 professional developments. So one is our Polaris development program, which is there's a series of different growth and leadership courses that we can take. The other one is called the Larry Cox Academy, which is our former founder of Polaris. And basically it's a 15-month program where people have the opportunity to go to different divisions of our company to learn it. And then they also have to do other courses online. And throughout that program, they get to learn IT, they get to learn, planning, dispatch, so many different things that they probably wouldn't have been exposed to. And it really sets the pace of who our next generation within Polaris are going to be leaders. So we really acknowledge our people, we're here to support them. And really our Chief Human Resources Officer, Laura Muir, is really the strategist against that. So, sorry, against probably wasn't the right word, but she is the lead on that. And we're doing a great job, and really, I can't say enough about our culture and taking care of our people.
And Women in Trucking last year named y'all a top company for women to work in transportation.
Correct. So
you're
yes.
getting recognition on both sides of the border.
Yes, we are, and we're very proud of that. I think I counted our awards last year, and I think it was 11. So it's going to be hard to beat, but we're going to get there.
Well, as a woman yourself, tell us a little bit about your personal experience and how did you get into trucking?
So purely by accident, actually. So I was in sales and marketing for most of my career in different verticals, hospitality, manufacturing. And I actually applied for a job at a marketing company that specialized in transportation. So I didn't know anything about transportation. So really, that was probably the most intense course that I had when I worked there. I learned every acronym. You think, you deliver something from point A to point B, it's quite simple. It is not that at all. So you talk about, full truckloads and less than a truckload and intermodal and, dedicated fleets and private fleets. So really, that's where I learned so much. And he was a great mentor. And it then led me to Polaris. So I've been now with Polaris for 6 years and wonderful leadership. I have not experienced any hardships with working in the industry. I feel like everybody that I've worked with or worked for have always advocated for women, and really it comes down to being very expressive of what you want and being really good at what you do and showcasing that, and it really doesn't matter where you came from or what you did. Really, what you know as a professional gets applied to the same industry, right? So I'm very fortunate and happy to be part of the supply chain, essentially.
I think a lot of us sort of got into it by accident. That happened to me too. Needed a journalism job 30 some odd years ago and landed at a trucking magazine. And here I still am. You mentioned the company you were at for being great mentors. I guess how and where have you found sort of support and mentorship, both in just being new to trucking and being a woman?
So really, I actually report to the CEO of Polaris. And I have to say that it really has been a good experience, and having someone that has an open mind allows you to be more creative, allows you to bring more ideas to the table, and you're respected, right? So I feel like the mentorship started at the agency and it still is progressing. We learn every day, we learn from people every day, so I feel like we learn from each other, right? We're all doing a common goal. So whether I learn a little bit about, sustainability, right? Because that's a huge huge undertaking, massive. So much respect for Fulia, so much respect for Laura, so much respect for so many women at our company. And you know, we're really proud, and we try to showcase what our women are doing, if not just in the four walls of where we are, what they're doing beyond that, in associations, you know, into shelters, into food banks, how it affects the planet, what are we doing about our environmental issues. So I don't know if that's a good enough answer, but that's kind of my thought on mentorship.
And talking about, I guess, mentorship, and I've been in the industry a long time, and we've talked a lot about bringing more women into the industry, bringing more diverse groups into the industry, but I don't think we talk as much about, once we attract people to the industry and to our companies, how do we make sure that it's a great environment for women or minorities or anybody else to succeed and to want to stay there. And, you know, as a company that's been honored for being a great place to work for women and other areas, what are some of the things that, you know, you do to kind of help manage that diversity, get the most out of that diversity, make sure people feel welcome? What are some things that the company does there?
So I think it really comes down to your culture. So it always comes from the top down. So we've built a really good culture and pillars of what it means to be part of Polaris. Laura is really the strategist when it comes to having good policies, taking care of our people. So I think if you practice what you preach, meaning that you're doing what you say you're going to do, that's going to give you the respect. When it comes to turnover, we have very little turnover, and you know, you hear about driver shortages out there, and we don't experience that. We're very fortunate that our drivers have been with us, some of them since, you know, not necessarily since inception, because that would be 31 years, but very close to that. So we don't have a high turnover rate because we are very transparent. We treat our employees with respect. We give them what they need. We give them the tools. So really, you know, all I can say is it's really about building culture and making sure that people feel included, they're heard, and really that's what it comes down to.
Any advice you would have for women who are in trucking or might think about getting into trucking?
Yeah, so again, we both stumbled on this industry and we haven't left, so that says something. I feel like people don't think as transportation as possibly one of the career options that people want to go into. However, if you think about the supply chain, if you think about transportation, everything that you touch in some shape or form has been moved by a truck, whether that's raw goods, whether it's a finished product. Why would you not want to be part of a global supply chain that actually creates jobs? It's economic, security. It really is a fantastic industry for people to think about. So whether you're in, you know, HR or you're in customer care or planning or IT, there's a position for everybody in transportation, and you just have to apply the same career. If you were in, manufacturing environment, you were in marketing there, or you're, into sales, it really applies to transportation. And I feel like it's more sophisticated than what people think, right? It's always been not maybe seen as that way, but it's changing, right? There's more women in leadership roles that are making a difference in our industry. There's more opportunities. And really, we're stepping up the game because it's important.
It is. It is. All right. Brenda, I think we are about out of time. Anything else you wanted to add?
Basically, we really appreciate you having the opportunity to reach out to us and for me to be here, and just want to say that transportation is something that people don't think about, but it really is a rewarding career, and I wouldn't change my career. I love what I do, and we're just going to keep moving forward as a company, doing good for our people, for our partners, our customers, and the planet, and that's the best you can do, right?
All right, great. Thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you, Deborah.
I've been talking to Brenda Brajkovich of Polaris Transportation Group about some of the company's recent awards and initiatives from technology to diversity. You'll find more in these topics on truckinginfo.com. Don't forget to subscribe to HDT Talks Trucking on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode.